Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. Now, only a few days ago I interviewed Mr. Blue, you may remember. It put the cat amongst the pigeons, absolutely. A lot of people were really fascinated by what was going on with our police, what was going on with our courts, and what is going on with the government, and how the fraud has been going on. And we showed and demonstrated how these people are corporations. I say people, these organizations that we thought were public authorities working for us are not working for us at all. They are private corporations there for a profit. Well, this went down so well, and Mr. Blue got back in touch with me and said, "I've got more. Do you want it?" I said, "Better have it, I think." And he joins me now. And as before, a little bit of anonymity is involved, so we won't actually see him, but we will hear his dulcet tones. Hello, Mr. Blue.
Good afternoon, Richard.
It's lovely to speak with you again. We've spent about an hour putting together, hopefully, all the documentation that we need, and some of this will be available as a download, and some of it will be obviously where you can go and get it online. I think that's fair to say.
It will. It will. It's
yeah.
all information. It's public information. It's there if you want to look for it. But obviously, we're trying to help people look in the right direction.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, we're going to sort of continue from more or less where we left off, I gather, and just add more to the corruption that we're exposing.
Yeah, we run so late yet last time that we actually missed quite a few little pieces of information.
Yes.
To obviously back up what we were saying. Now, obviously, if we start with the first one there, Richard, which comes out of the Council Tax Handbook, 13th edition, from 2023, here, which is what you've got there.
Yeah.
As you can see, the council are fully aware that their liability orders were removed on the 1st of October 2003 and the 10th of July 2003 in Wales. So they're removed. They're no longer part of the judiciary system, court system. Therefore, they have no legal standing. If we scroll down to the bottom of this page, it clearly states that the lack of adequate and independent record may be a breach of the Human Rights Article 6 of the European Convention of Human Rights regarding the processes of determining the civil rights and obligations of the citizens.
Right.
Now, hang on. Well, these are supposed to be public officers and civil servants and public servants working for the betterment of our community, for the betterment of the people.
Yes.
So how are they breaking the law, making it better for us?
Well, I don't think they are they?
Well, I don't feel any betterment, and I'm sure everybody else in the country doesn't feel any betterment. We feel violated, and I speak, I think I speak for most people when I, make that comment. We are being violated.
Well, if they're acting, yes, I mean, if they're acting with bailiffs turning up saying we've got a liability order and there is no liability order, that is a violation as well as corruption and fraud.
Of course. And it's also the criminal act of uttering, which we went into well adverse with the other show.
Yes.
Because you can't pass something off as true when you know it's false. So if we if we're in breach of Article 6, we've got to be in breach of Article 20.
Right. Hang
on.
Of
the Human Rights Convention.
Let me just quickly find where I have put that. Here it is.
United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, Article 20. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. This includes becoming a citizen person of the United Kingdom's corporation.
There you go. No one may be compelled.
And what are we all being? Compelled.
Well, we are, yes.
So they've breached Article 20.
Is it? I mean, when you say it's compelled, I mean, unless we rebut it,
But they're ignoring it. This is the whole point. They're not. I mean, how many people? And if you had a poll on your audience that said how many people have actually wrote to the council and said, "Off we go. We're not going to be standing this anymore. I am not a person. I am a man."
Yes.
From the realm of England and Great Britain. I am not a member of the UK corporation. Right. I don't work for the UK corporation. I have no involvement in the UK corporation.
Yes. Well, you said how many people have done that. I don't suppose very many people would have done that at all.
I can assure you, in some aspect, the awakened people have put something to that degree to the councils and are still doing it. And the councils don't care.
No, exactly.
They're doubling down. They're still issuing liability orders today. Oops. In full knowledge that they're breaching Article 20, Article 6. They're creating harassment, criminal act, common law criminal act of uttering treason, and they are subverting the Constitution, which is treason against the nation. Now, as to the Constitution, now, you know, this is some serious criminal actions. Now, this is not only treason, it's not only high treason, it's extortion, forgery, and the list just goes on and on. Harassment. How can a council that you are the creditor of now declare you a debtor?
Yes.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, exactly.
Makes no sense whatsoever. So therefore, we've got to look at the voting system. Now, I don't want to go into the voting system too much, but how many men and women actually voted?
Certainly not so many in the last vote
that we had. Not one. Because we all know the trick with the all capitals name.
Yes.
Not one man voted. Not one woman voted.
No.
Because they used your corporate entity. We went into a polling station. Now, come on, Richard, you must have done many polls. What is a poll?
Yes, a poll is just an opinion. It's a collection of people's opinions.
So off we go. We go down to the opinion station to put an X in a box. What does the box mean? It's not on the page. We've now confirmed that we can't write our own name. So we've made our mark, as in the Old English. Yes. So we have now confirmed to the state that we are mentally retarded. We can't write our own name. We are, for all intents and purposes, needing the assistance of the state. Therefore, you will come to us now. You are into the state. Because you can't write your own name, you are a moron. And we go in and put an X on a box into public information. That then is folded up and put into another box, and then it is counted at a later date. So you give your fictional entity card when we walk in. We do the process, and not one man or woman votes, as it's given our opinion. So who has actually put these people into office? Because we certainly didn't.
No, they put themselves in, haven't they?
Correct.
Through the creation of this legal fiction.
Correct, and we've given our opinion. Doesn't mean to say it's going to be worthy.
No.
And why do they burn everything within days of the election being declared?
Presumably so they can't go back sometime later when you think, oh, hang on a minute, this government's not doing what we thought it was going to do. Let's have a recount. Oh, there's no evidence.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons, as well as many others. And I'm sure your audience will come up with loads of them.
Yes.
But like I say, it is, you know, in my humble opinion, that we haven't voted. It's all been predetermined. We've gone to a polling station, which we all know is an opinion station. And it's just created this mass illusion of democracy. So if we continue on, we already now know the councils are incorporated. We already know that the councils are now breaking the law. of the Constitution. Here's the Municipal Corporations Act 1835. This is the one that I advised on my last chat with yourself, so everybody have a look. It was repealed, dissolved, because of what happened previous. And it was all done by 1882 because the government, the councils, the police, the courts, everybody went tyrannical. And I feel that we've gone into the same nightmare of this. But the one saving grace that we got was the very well thought out Local Governments Act of 1888, which I've also supplied you straight off the government website.
Here we go.
No, Richard, that's not the one.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Here we go.
There you go. Legislation.gov.uk. As we can all see, it's still in force. There's only two of the sections still in force, and that's 78 and 79. And this is now classified because of its age and because of its longevity, and it's the protection of the inhabitants, the people. So therefore, it states all duties and liabilities of the inhabitants of the county shall be and become the duties and liabilities of such council. And that's when they become incorporated. So that means all our bills, everything is now liable and has to be paid by their own rules. And it's not a law. And we'll demonstrate that in a minute. Because as we can see, it's legislation, statute.
Yep.
So there it is in law under the legislation. So that's now a superior statute that cannot be denied, argued, or even contemplated to be meaning something else, because it's very plain English.
Yes. All duties and liabilities of the inhabitants of a county shall become and be, I'm trying to read this, it's quite small in my screen, the duties and liabilities of the council of such county. So they should, yeah. And we did touch on that last time, if I remember.
Yeah. But I knew a few people might be skeptic and everything else. Well, there it is. It's there for you to use. It's there for people just to go, oh my God, it's true.
Yes.
It is actually true. It is there. Legislation Government Act. Now, that's gone through Parliament in its day. Therefore, it is a rule. It is a government policy. And how do we know this? If we go on to the Magistrates and Courts Amendments Act rules that you've just had up there, Richard.
Yep, just coming back.
There we go. I know most people can't see that. I mean, it is smaller. But it says at the top of the page. What's it say, Richard?
I'll just zoom in so people can see. There we are. Magistrates Courts of England and Wales, statutory instruments.
Now, the Magistrates Courts Amendment rules. So what are statutes? They are statutory instruments. They are rules. They are not laws. And it tells you which rules they are changing.
I'll just zoom down to the bottom here.
And people should go have a look at these and have a look at any other statutes. They are not laws. They are rules. Nothing more.
And so rules are their own policy.
Correct. It is government policy.
Right, for people who are part of the UK corporation, presumably, but not for man and woman.
Or a incorporated person, and we touched on that last time. Incorporated person is somebody that walks into work. As soon as you clock in, you are then a corporate person because you work in commerce for the corporation to conduct business.
Yeah.
Therefore, these rules now apply to you, as well as the government and government employees only. If you jump into your private conveyance, which they now call it class as a motorised vehicle, you jump into that. We touched on this last time.
Yeah.
It is nothing more than an horse and cart. It is your private conveyance. You have the right to travel freely without let or hindrance. It says so in your passport.
Well, it would
Therefore,
be.
why do we have to have insurance, MOT, and tax? We don't, because the Constitution is very clear on this. The law is very clear. So what the government have done is stick in a load of policies and now trying to convince you, acts and statutes, that they're laws. They're not. The government doesn't have the authority to make statutes or acts law. They are only superior statutes, which means they can't be repealed, they can't be done. They're there for the people's protection against the tyrannical government and government bodies. That is what they were created for, as to the constitution of law.
Right. Okay.
So now we've got the basis and the foundation of how we've been lied to, how
Yeah.
we've been tricked. And people are going to say, no, 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 that can't be right. Cannot be right. So if we go on to what I class as one of the finest pieces of law ever to come out. Now, this is where I must put my hand up and have a little bit of a redress and apologise to the people out there on your show by giving them a little bit of false information. Now, Betty Boothroyd actually stated what we described on the other show, and it was done on the 21st of July, 1993. It was then used in 2002 by by three top judges from the House of Lords at an appeal, and it was Lord Justice Bingham, Scott, and Stein, who declared and stated that Betty Boothroyd. Therefore, I wish the committee to now consider and address the legality of DPE itself in light of the following. As no doubt members will be aware, on the 21st of July 1993, the Speaker of the House of Commons issued a reminder to the courts. Betty Boothroyd said, there has, of course, been no amendment to the Bill of Rights. The House is entitled to expect that the Bill of Rights will be fully respected by all those appearing before the courts. And that includes the judges. Now, there's a big case regarding Thorne v. City of Sunderland, and it's known as the Metric Martyrs case. Now, here it is. Now, I've obviously got my notes on this. And we got the reading of the judgment. It was done by the Campaign Metric Martyrs Defence Fund, and it was done by Neil Heron. Really brave man, to be fair, as well as by R. Thorne, who took on the council. Now, what's so imperative about this case law, and case law is now cast iron, it can't be disputed, it can't be argued, is that 5 top judges in the realm of England and Great Britain have determined that the Road Traffic Act is, shall we say, contravention of the Constitution. Because what they stated in there was that all grants and promises of fines and forfeitures of particular person before conviction are illegal. Now, what's so important about that? Now, the importance of this is that no man can be taken to court without a genuine reason, and that no fine can be issued before that conviction. Therefore, any speeding fine, any speeding ticket, anything that they issue you is illegal because you've
Right.
not been convicted of it.
Right.
So therefore, all road traffic acts are now contrary to the constitution of law. And as we all know, the constitution of law is the highest law in the land. So you can't be given points. And more importantly, the police cannot hire a court to bring a private prosecution against you, because there's a maxim in law that says no man can stand in judgment of his own case. So we've now got the Bill of Rights, Constitution of Law, and the maxims of law, which state that no corporation can bring a man to court. The maxim in law says, well, here we go. How does the council, police, or anybody bring a private prosecution against the creditor, not the debtor, the creditor, and then issues we're going to have to call it a pseudo court, that there's no jury, there's 9 times out of 10 no judge, it's just a panel of people sat there, and the clerk of the court is now changed from the clerk to a legal advisor, which is a corporate standing, and there's no claimant in court. Now, the Bill of Rights is very clear on this. There must be a claimant in court to make a claim. If there is no claimant, the case is dismissed.
Right.
And therefore, this is the problem that the council have got. And the police have got. They can't make a claim. They cannot make a claim because they are corporate persons.
Yes.
So they are not people. They're not a man. They're not a woman. They're a corporate entity. Now, I know people are going to go, no, that's mad, that's mad. You can't be two things. Well, we've just demonstrated that you can. Because the corporation cannot bring a man to court. And the reason you can do this is a corporation is nothing more than a piece of paper.
Yes.
Registered to a company's house in England. Yes?
Yes.
So can that corporation pick up a pen?
No.
Can a corporation sign a contract?
No.
Can a corporation enter the court?
No.
So therefore, how does a corporation bring a claim?
It can only do those sort of things, presumably by the employees, which happen to have bodies and arms and legs and things.
Which is a contract.
Which is a contract.
And a contract is between two corporations. And what have we said about corporations? Well, the courts try and declare that as representation. No. Oh, no. Hold your horses. No. It is only a contract between two corporations. So if the corporation is a corporation and these contracts have signed with each other, that's the corporation, nothing to do with the man. Corporation cannot have any jurisdiction over the man. That's law. But they break this law. They break the maxims in law by enabling somebody to bring a case against your corporate fiction. That's why all cases and summonses are in your either all uppercase name or your mixed uppercase and lowercase name.
Yeah.
It's the same corporate entity. It's the same trick they use every time.
Yes.
And this is why I argue with the point that we have a license. We all have a driving license, or most of us have a driving license. Now, can the legal fiction drive a car? No. It's the man that drove the car. It's the man that passed the test. It's the man that was trained to be safe on the roads. Now, I agree with that aspect of, that kind of law. What I don't agree with is the fact that corporations can now be judge, jury, and executioner.
Can I just ask one question that just occurs to me as you said that? I mean, if a corporation, let's say the DVLA or the police or whomever it is, say we want to take you to court because, or let's say it's the police, and we know that the police are, and we've got some video to show in a second about the fact that the police are corporations. If they take somebody to court, then before they get there and they say we want to know who the driver is, I mean, could you just say, well, I'm Fred from the family of Fred, or whatever, instead of being the legal corporation? Because if they can't take a man to court, they're not going to get anywhere, are they?
Well, this is the whole point. Now, this is what the Crown Prosecution Service was for. Now, we've all seemed to have forgotten about the Crown Prosecution Service, because the Crown Prosecution Services were the one that brought the man to court as to the law.
Right.
But if you want to go into really finicky things, now, if I asked you for your bank account details, would you give me them? No, you wouldn't.
Unless you were going to pay me some money, as it might be on an invoice or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't be. Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is this: hang on then. So hang on a minute. We've all heard of GDPR rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a corporation that has no right to ask you for information. Not the police force. It's not, we know it's a private corporation now. So therefore, it hasn't got any of the authority that we believe it has. So therefore, it can't ask us. Now, even under GDPR rules and regulations, we are not supposed to pass on personal and private information to anybody. It's a breach of the law. It's a breach of the regulations.
Right.
So they're now asking us to commit a criminal act by supplying information that they can have no right to have. So, I mean, that to me is very strange. And they know they're not allowed to have it. But they can break the law as many times as they want. Again, with this, how does a computer bring a man to court? Because they're supplying nothing more than a photograph of a registration plate saying this car was assumed to be speeding.
Yes.
Okay, show me the proof. Show me the evidence.
Where are your witnesses?
Exactly. What does the law state? You have to have a independent witness to make the claim, to show us evidence. You can't just haul up a bit. I mean, I know we've all got it at the minute where we're all videoing each other left, right, and centre. But the police or the council have to give independent evidence.
Yes. It's hardly independent if it's their own bits of technology that's designed to capture people.
Yeah, and let's not forget, how many times have we seen it where we're just driving along, tooting along, and all of a sudden, wallop, these lights come on in front of you, you going past,
yeah,
in your lawful travelling, you won't then either have got to make an instant decision. You either go through knowing full well that you're travelling beyond the speed of what that's just flashed up in front of you, or you slam on and kill everybody on the highway.
Well, you do have to make a judgment of what's going to be safe, surely.
Of course.
And your judgment may go against what the rules are or the policy is, because you're trying to remain for the safety of the people travelling in your car and others. Exactly.
And others. And this is the difference. Now, it is only a recommendation, because as far as I'm aware, that nothing beats the Constitution.
Right.
No policy, no act, no statute, nothing. Now, I don't care what the government says. I really don't. I don't care what the council say. You are incorporated. You are nothing more than an incorporation of the United Kingdom, and it just travels further down from there. Every section of this has been incorporated. Now, the metric martyrs, and why that's so important, is that the 5 judges ruled in favour of the fact that the Bill of Rights stands true above. Now, I just want to read out paragraph, and I paraphrase this for people, but I strongly recommend, if you can get hold of them, that you download the actual court and judgment of the court, because it states, we shall recognise an hierarchy of Acts of Parliament as it were ordinary statutes and constitutional statutes. The special statutes of the constitutional statutes follows the special status of constitutional rights. Now, our rights cannot be taken away from us. They cannot be removed from us. They can be nothing from us. For example, the Bill of Rights. But that doesn't diminish the Magna Carta. 63. Ordinary statutes may be impliedly repealed. Constitutional statutes may not. Now, this was upheld by Lord Bingham Scott and Stye in the appeal which went to the House of Lords on Monday the 15th of July 2002. That's where my confusion came from, because they used the Betty Boothroyd statement from 1993 in the case of this one in 2002. I am not aware that the Road Traffic Act 1991 or any other makes express reference to repealing the Bill of Rights Act 1689. Therefore, there can be no fine except for that is imposed by a court. It is therefore important that the Transport Committee considered the implication of attempting to override the provisions of the Bill of Rights and the constitutional considerations of doing so, which basically means if you attempt this again, it's treason against the nation. All road traffic acts are now treason against the nation because it's a subversion or an alteration of the constitution of law, where every man has the freedom to travel without let or hindrance. Now, what is a road traffic act? It is a let or hindrance. It's a fine.
Yes.
Oh, you can't break our rules. Excuse me. The law says I can. Now, that's the difference between an act, a statute, and the law.
And isn't it true that the police send out, if you get caught, as you mentioned on the gantry there, they'll send you a letter of intent to prosecute, and so they'll send you, if you pay up now, we won't take you to court and prosecute you, which is blackmail, isn't it?
Well, it's extortion. If you don't do what we do, we'll take you to court and we'll fine you even more.
Yeah.
And again, this is the maxim in law where it says no man can stand in of his own case. Now, you're telling me that the police are going to take us to court on a policy that has no meaning in law, that breaks our rights of freedom of travel without let or hindrance. It is in direct violation of the constitution of law by a private police force that has no authority. And then the courts that we go to have no jury, no CPS, and no claimant. But yet we all walk out with 6 points, £1,014 fine, and a judgment against us. Then we get the courts, once we put a lawful void order in, and say, whoa, no, irregular service. No, this is all due process of law, all codswallop. It's not a court of law. And then the court says, oh, we can't stamp your void order. We didn't bring this claim against you. Well, if the claimant is a foreign state corporation and it's not in our courts, then what judgment is actually made within that court and what stands in law? Well, none of it can stand, surely. Because they're pseudo courts, which is a fake court brought by a private corporation in the trickery of colour of law and in the criminal act of uttering. Now, that's the police force nailed, because every one of those it is in the common law criminal act of uttering. The Metric Martyrs ruling, Thornburn v. is very clear. Nothing trumps the constitutional rights of the people. Nothing. So all road traffic acts are nil and void. All of them. So if they're nil and void, let's have a look at a few others. Because we've just demonstrated statutory instruments. They're rules. Even in their own words, they're rules.
Yes.
They're their rules. So if we go on, it is then necessary to understand the constitutional considerations of ignoring the Declaration of Rights, which basically means you carry on, it is treason against the nation. The nation can bring charges of uttering and treason. Now, the judges warned them. They knew, I honestly believe that these three judges and the two judges prior to this case knew, because they went on. They bring in, for some strange reason, Article 234 EC of the Court of Law and what a court of law is, and whether it's a tribunal centre, a member state. Honestly, it goes on. It's such a read, and I don't want to get tied down in this.
No.
But it is well worth a read, and because it actually declares that nothing supersedes the constitutional rights of the people and of the nation. Now, that being said, so that now brings in the Magna Charta, which the government says, no, whoa, we can't go that far back. Because they don't like it. Because that gives us even more rights. And what can't the Constitution be done? Can't be repealed, can't be dissolved, can't be taken away. Because it is our right as a nation. It's as simple as that, guys. And it's about time you understood your rights as to the constitution of law. And start forgetting about the statutes, parliamentary acts, because everything they've done is in subversion of the Constitution. Because no parliamentary act can overrule the Constitution, because they're for two different things. One is for a person, which is a state employee or a corporate employee. The Constitution is the man and woman's rights by law, created by us, for us, and accepted that that is the rule of law. Acts and statutes and parliamentary acts is a perversion, subversion, inversion, and subversion of the Constitution. Therefore, it's treason. And let's not forget, anything that is found to repugnant to the Constitution is automatically null and void. That's the rule of law. So the judges are now all in trouble because they're in the act of committing treason, because they're not under an oath anymore.
Right.
So I'm sure you've got the other bits up, Rich. Promissory Oath Act, 1868.
Yes.
Now, all judges must be under this oath. They have to be by law, by the Constitution, by their own rules. Because this is where every judge is created from. Still in force, is it not, Richard?
It does say at the top, if I just go back up here, where is it? There are no changes. Somewhere it says it. There are no, what version? Latest version, revised. So therefore, there's no changes in it.
So if the judges are not under an oath, if judges are under an oath, what are they under? If the police are not under an oath, what are they under? If the councillors, MPs are not under oaths, what are they under? They're under an affirmation, which is a promise to a corporation.
Yeah.
This is why the judges get up and walk out when you ask for their oath and bond. Because by law, the courts have to hold the judge's oath and bond and upon request, both must be provided to the defendant or claimant for redress. And redress is very important in law. Because without the redress of law, where errors and mistakes are made, there can be no law. Because we have to know who we're dealing with, and that man will give us, all woman, excuse me, ladies, will give us fairness in trial, will give us impartiality, will give us the integrity of that office from our delegated powers as to 1794 in the reign of King George III on the 14th day of April, as declared in the Constitution of Law, where we delegated those our powers to others for the benefit of the community. Well, if they're now altering and subverting that delegated authority, as we are a constitutional monarchy, supposedly, where we have nominated the kings and queens as our chief trustees. Therefore, they appoint the judges to a degree, they appoint and what have you, and they have the power, if we enforce it to the king, to dissolve Parliament immediately. There is no question. He's under his oath to protect the Constitution of Law. It's stated in the Constitution. If he fails in that duty, he commits treason against the nation. Now, for me, with the governments that we've had, I'm surprised that we have not ordered the king to dissolve Parliament immediately. Now, whether he likes it or not, it is irrelevant. If Parliament like it or not. Now, what gets me in all this, we've just proved that the government and everything else are incorporated, that most of the, well, all politicians are incorporated.
Yes.
Police are incorporated. You know, we've gone through a lot of this. And yet, the one question that's eluded me for a long time is, how is this not a criminal act? How can a public servant now be a private limited corporation, and this not be a conflict of interest? Not only can it not be a conflict of interest, but how do we allow this to continue without lawful redress?
Yeah. I'm just worried because time is slipping now, and we've got some other bits and pieces that we've not yet got to. You've got some videos that you've sent me.
Yes, if we can have those up, Richard, please.
Okay, let me just get to them. So here we go. So can you explain what these... I'm just putting the first one. We're back on Dun and Bradstreet. This will start up in a second, hopefully. Here we go.
Now, as I showed you last time, that the English and Welsh police force was traded as Pitcom 233 Limited. Now, due to my and a few others, and a big shout out to the others for investigating this, we discovered that there are quite a significant number of Pitcom number limited corporations.
Gosh, look at them. And they've all got numbers after their name.
Yeah.
Pitcom with a number, limited.
And what I forgot to give you last time as well, and apologies to the ladies and gentlemen out there, was the proof of what we're saying. So there's under there, you know, you can see them. It's not just me saying it. It's there.
Yeah, this is this is just taken from Dun and Bradstreet site. And then if we go to, I think the next one is the, that just goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just fantastic. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
And then the next one is Company's House, if I remember rightly. You've given
Well,
me, let's just.
yeah, I mean, if you look at the other one, you know, we've got them there, and it's like, oh my God, what on earth is going off now? And if you pull up the photograph, Richard, that I sent you, just to prove what Pitcom 233, 233 Limited is.
Let me just grab it back. So I found, yeah, here we go. Is this the one?
Yeah, that's the Company's House one.
With all the various different people.
Yeah, so you can have a look. And if you just stop at what it trades as. So you've got that. If you go down the page, and it says types of business at the bottom. I should do there, Richard. Now, go up a bit. It's at the bottom of the first page. Oh, types of business. There it is. Type of business above. I think it's above that, just above that, Richard. There it is. Nature of business. SIC. Residence Property Management. They're even telling us what they are. We are the residents. We are the property, and they are the management.
Yeah, there you go.
How on earth is a police force? If you pull the picture up where it says English and Welsh Federation, Richard, police force trading as Pitcom 233.
Just remind me where that is. That on the same page, or is that a separate?
No, it's a separate photograph that I sent you through.
Yeah, let me just find it. Oh yeah, here we go.
Now, as you can clearly see, everybody, this is the same number. It's the Police Federation of England and Wales. Pitcom 233 Limited, 04120881. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't think there can be any more illusion of what we're dealing with.
So there's that one which matches up to this one. Which you can see the same number that you just read out.
Yep.
There it is.
And it's the English and Welsh Police Force.
I mean, that's staggering, that is.
Now, you know, we go on to that, and then if we bring up Raid-Control Trust, now, this is, or was, I mean, it's dissolved now, but because we caught them with it, and we sort of made a big song and dance about it to them. This is, again, you know, security systems service activities. And it's the West Yorkshire Police Force.
Gosh.
And that's how they traded.
Yeah.
And if you go on to that, guys, you'll see the 5 shareholders, which is the bailiffs. IBM International, Thomas Cook and Ladbrokes. And one of the chief executives of Veritas. It used to be Stephen, I won't mention his name on here, but it used to be Stephen End. Right. But I'm sure you'll find it and have a look at it. And so the bailiffs are now running the police.
That kind of explains why whenever the police decide to ring bailiffs and a little, you know, enforcement agency firm, that they seem to just turn up like that.
Yep. And then start smashing windows, breaking people out of their homes. And what does the Constitution of Law say? You cannot do it. No man can be taken from his property without the due process of law. And what are we not getting?
We're certainly not getting the due process of law.
No, we're not, because under Aylesbury's Law, 2011, it is absolutely clear that an administrative court has no authority. This is in this country, and no act can be passed to legitimise them due to the constitutional restraints placed upon His Majesty at his coronation. The collection of revenue by such means is extortion under the rule of law. This includes county courts magistrates who are both administrative courts only. According to Aylesbury's Law 2011, administrative courts, including county courts magistrate, lack authority in the country and cannot be legitimised due to the constitutional restraints placed upon the monarch at coronation. Any attempt to collect revenue through these courts is deemed extortion under the rule of law. Under the rule of law, as they operate solely within the realm of administration. Such courts acting in fraud, dishonesty, bias, self-gain are fundamentally flawed in their legal standing. Now that's out of the Aylesbury's Law Book. Now, as I said last time we spoke, if you go into the courts now, they are becoming administrative courts.
Yes.
So we've just got it there now from the law books. They've no law. They have no authority. So they're not with a jury. They've no CPS. They've no claimant. They've a judge who is making an order in a criminal act from what the law is stating, not me. It is what the law and the Constitution has stated. Now, that's how bad we've got.
Did you want to mention something about the Crown Agents Act at this stage?
Yes, yeah, we can just go into this. This is what I didn't, just like I say, again, people need to be aware of what the Crown Agents Act is. The Crown Agents Act is where police officers, judges, clerks and such officers of the courts and law once came from. They had to be signed in by a Crown agent. Now, this was dissolved in 1995 by a Prime Minister and then dissolved in 1997. All the Crown agents were put to the Companies Act 1985, proving that all Crown agents are now incorporated. That's why all the courts, the judges, have now become incorporated.
Right.
As the Crown Agents Act was dissolved by, I believe, Tony Blair in the act of treason against the nation as to the Constitution. Now, again, we could go a little bit longer on that, but the best one for that is a young man that I sort of started, was one of the people that helped him and do other things and stuff, which, we'll go into on another day. I'm sure you'll have us back to go through certain other stuff, but just wanted to touch on that, just so that people can look up the Crown Agents Act and what has actually happened to it and what the Crown Agents, now important that was. It was every officer was signed up through the Crown Agents Act, hence the Crown Officer of the law.
But that's all gone. So now there are all these independent. I'm just trying to rush us through because we've only got 7 minutes here. We're trying to get this through within the hour. There are. You've given me some other bits that I can't remember now. What they were. We did that bit. And then we went down to these.
Oh, these are just the notes which I'd like you to put out there. These are from my notes, what I took from the Metric Martyrs ruling.
Ah, right, okay.
These are from the Metric Martyrs ruling, and where it says, that the laws are extremely specific in this, Right, and therefore, if and we're talking, this is about a road traffic thing. Now, if we take the same principle to a proper law court, it means the same thing, that nobody can issue anything without the true law of the realm. And this has got to be done by a jury. It cannot be done by a judge. The jury has to be free thinking. It has to listen to the evidence. It has to watch the cross-examination, the questions being asked. When was the last time we went to a court and any of that was done?
Well,
It
quite.
isn't.
This is
And then,
this is something from
this is
City.
rather important for everybody out there, and especially if you work for the council, the police, or the legal department within these. Now, I know there are things afoot within the council, but let us put this as I won't say warning, but let's just say it is our lawful right to sue you in your personal and private capacity. It is not a criminal act of harassment or intent, as the law has now changed. This came in and they thought they'd flown it under the radar on December the 26th, 2023. UK firms not prepared for the systemic changes in corporate liability law. Lawyers warn. And if we scroll down, Richard, there we go. The majority of UK companies are not prepared for the systemic changes to corporate liability law and comes into effect next week. Top City lawyers warn. The changes now are there. Any senior management or any managed person within the corporation that commits a financial crime or aids and abets in one is now personally liable for their interaction with that crime, such as council tax, such as speeding fines. It's there. They've changed the law and not realised the damage that we can now do as people, as the men and women in the street. Every council employee is now liable to be sued.
And they are pushing back, aren't they? They're pushing back. We saw this thing the other day that was sent round that was saying, you better watch out. But and then they're what did they call us? Pseudo
sovereign community.
Yes, that sort of nonsense. As if we're. I mean, they're kind of reassuring the people in the councils and these other corporate so-called lawyers that
they threaten to bring criminal charges of harassment. Well, this is for these people there. Well, here you go, sir. This is the law that states we can sue you because you are committing the financial criminal crime of extortion. You are using a false instrument as true as to the crime of uttering. So let's not be really banded about this. We've got nothing to fear but fear itself. You have the law to fear, the Constitution to fear, and the rights of the people that you are violating by having these jackboot thugs come round and threaten all sorts of criminal actions in the act of criminality. The police have got loads to fear. They are doing exactly the self and they're aiding and abetting. It comes under the Forgeries Act 1916 and comes under the other 1913. It comes under the and it comes under the Forgeries Act and it's aiding and abetting. 1 second, Richard. I'll get it up for you, my young mate. I won't leave you hanging and dangling there.
No, don't leave me hanging and dangling, for goodness sake. That would be terrible.
Yes, aiding and abetting comes, and this is the key point with all this, is that they think because they are not doing the crime, that they're not involved in it. And let's not forget, what does the law state? Ignorance of the law is no defence. And as a police officer, you better not be ignorant of the law. We're not interested in your policies. We're not interested in your acts and statutes, because that is exactly what they are. They are nothing more than policies.
I think that's the act you were trying to find.
Well, it's the one I'm looking for is the uttering. Just 1 second. It's the aiding and abetting, which is then covered under, and it's 2 acts actually. It's and I've got them both here. It's just my brain has left the building at the moment.
Well, don't worry. We're going to have to leave the building in a second because
Yeah, I know. So if we just get it comes under. Sorry, it's the Forgery Act 1913, Section 29 1I, and it's also the Larceny Act 1916 for aiding and abetting in the criminal act of uttering.
There we are. People can look that up.
They can.
Everybody wants everything done for them on a plate. That's the trouble these days. It's like, oh, where do we get the documents? It's like, well, we told you about them. You might just have to go and find them. And all the stuff is on legislation.gov.uk. I mean, they put it there for you to find.
It's all there for people to look at. It's just that we've been so indoctrinated by governments, and we've been so busy in keeping our heads above water and going to work and doing the lawful thing and playing by the rules of law, and then we've got them altered, subverted away from law, which is the Constitution, into acts and statutes, which is nothing more than corporate policy. And those acts and statutes are actually there and supposed to be there as a line of defence for the people against the governments. And all they've done is they've inverted, subverted and perverted the way round. It's now they're trying to force their laws and rules on us and say, no, we've got to play by them. You've got to play by them. Well, no. That's not the law. Yeah. The Constitution is very clear. A person is only for and allowed to conduct the business of state for the betterment of the people, the nation. Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
All they can do.
Listen, we're going to have to put it to an end. Last time we went on for about an hour and 20. I'm determined to keep this nice and short as it's a follow-on. People will have hopefully followed all of that and can go and look this up. What we really need is, I mean, it's great to now know all of this, but it's then trying to sort of simulate this and do something about it, because they still have the big sticks and they still ignore everything, no matter what people write their letters to. They still just drag people away, and you see people spouting the law. They spout all these different things, and these people in their uniforms and their wigs and gowns, they just ignore all of that because it's all a big business and it's all about making money, and they just funnel people through religiously.
Well, they do. We both know that they do. They'll do 600 cases in a day by just rubber stamping them. 1,000 cases in a day with council tax and road traffic tax and all the rest of it. Now that's not got any due process of law, so it's a criminal act. No, but the thing that we've got to do now, I believe, is we remove our consent. We now tell, and we put it up on and in public, that we are removing our consent from the police. We are removing our consent from the judiciary, and we are now putting Parliament into dishonour and dissolvement. And it's as simple as that. Right. There's no need to riot. There's no need to, attack people and do whatever. The law is there. It's very clear. Hopefully, the powers that be will realise that their jig is up and it is time to move aside, because we will now just create another police force. We will create, and there's a lot of people now saying this out there. The police force has failed because it's become a policy operation only. There's no law.
No.
The judiciary has failed massively. It's not protected itself, and it's not protected the law. So it can't stand. And Parliament is incorporated. We've got Parliament's office. We've got the Prime Minister's office. We've got every office within there, all incorporated. Just look it up.
No, absolutely. And we've covered that umpteen times on the show. I'm going to have to close off now, though. But the bottom line is that we do need to now, en masse, I suppose, is to turn our backs on people who are breaking the law and go about our lawful business with a new police service, a new judiciary, which is trial by jury, and a different kind of governance to help us.
And
Brilliant.
that's what it is now. We've got to say no.
Yes.
We do not consent to any of this anymore. We are now removing you from our delegated authority.
There it
The
is.
people, as the Constitution says, the people
Yes.
reserve the rights.
There you go. Mr. Blue, thank you very much. Sorry to
Thank
push
you
you at
very
the
much,
end.
Richard. Pleasure as always.
We'd be interested to read all the comments, of course. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Didn't want to stretch this too long. I'll be back with more monologues and wonderful guests. Until next time, thank you for watching. And thanks to Mr. Blue. Until next time, goodbye.